Hi everyone, welcome back to the London Football Show. I think it's our first episode of the year, so yeah, slightly overdue. Obviously FA Cup just finished or finishing. The draw's just been made, so we'll start with West Ham. Obviously, James, you can start with the FA Cup, and then we'll like go into the Premier League because yeah, West Ham they're on the up at the moment, catching the teams just ahead of them. So your thoughts on
Well,
everything?
I think I'd rather be in West Ham's position than say Nottingham Forest, Tottenham position because we found a bit of form now, and it all stemmed from that FA Cup third round against QPR when we went to extra time and got a winner during the extra time there, and then we went on a bit of a run. Players seem to be playing. Somerville's found some really good form, keeps scoring, keeps playing well. Bowen's playing out wide, which is good. The two new strikers have played well. I wouldn't say they're fantastic, but I think they've got a lot of energy, which is sort of making the rest of the players play with a bit of energy, which is what we lacked. We were a bit slow from the beginning of each game. He made a call about a goalkeeper when we went to Burnley away and swapped the goalkeepers. Got our only second clean sheet of the season against Burnley away. So yeah, stuck with him against Man United. We were unlucky not to get a clean sheet against Man United, but I think we're sort of it's a difficult one because although we're doing well, we're still in the bottom three and we're still a few points away from it. So we've not got out yet. When we get out, then I might start thinking we've got a chance. Because when you actually put a team like Forest, dare I say it's Spurs, just only purely because of what their next game is against Arsenal. When you put another team in the bottom three when they haven't been in it for a while, that's going to cause a few problems. And we've seen what's happened already. Both Forest and Spurs have got rid of their managers, so they will want a new, the manager bounce from the new managers. But then a lot of talk of Forest's new manager is the one that's taken Wolves down. So he hasn't had a good record, although he kept Wolves up last season. He didn't get many points before he got sacked from Wolves this season. And you can't have four managers in one season, surely, in the hope of surviving, which is a real shame. And I think it has to do with the owner and his interference. Really, is too much. He wants too much. He thinks they've had a bit of a good run for us last season, got themselves into Europe, got themselves sort of top five throughout the whole season, talk of Champions League. And I think that's where he wants the club to be. But Forest aren't a club that's going to be there consistently, and I think they've lost their way. Spurs are all over the place. West Ham are flying. FA Cup draw's been good to them, a home tie in the last 16 against the winners of tonight's game, Macclesfield or Brentford. So possibility of getting to a quarter final. But some people say, would that be a distraction for the league? I'm on the viewpoint, if you're winning in any game, it gives you that momentum. And that's what you need when you're down the bottom. So, he dropped 10 players from the FA Cup against Burton at the weekend, which is good because it gives players minutes on the pitch. So onwards and upward. Bournemouth is the next game for West Ham at home, Saturday evening, 5:30. So by then, who knows where we'd be if we get a result against Bournemouth at home, who have found a bit of form the last week or two, Bournemouth. But that'd be a good win and then puts the pressure on Forest and Spurs. But do I think we're going to stay up? I'll answer that once we get out of the bottom three and then see what we got. We've still got tough games. Liverpool away. We've got to still play Arsenal. We've still got to play Man City. We've still got to play Villa. We've got to go to Palace. We've got to go to Fulham. They're tough games, but it's the momentum of the run. Can't afford to lose. If we keep picking up points, we should be all right. But that's based on other people. And I think the only other two clubs now, really, because of Leeds' home form, will be Forest definitely. And let's just chuck Spurs in for a bit of a laugh. And who would like to see Spurs
Oh,
go down?
oh,
Oh
it's not
my
a lot. You're
word!
close to them, man. It's serious. It's serious. You know what? Obviously, like on West Ham, of course, obviously, I don't want to see West Ham go down because whenever I'm lucky enough to come, it's like big Premier League games. It's not going to be the same if I'm reading like Blackburn
You're
team
not.
sheet
You're not
next
going to
season.
want to
It's not
come.
going to
You're
be
not
the
going to
same.
want to come West Ham Preston, are you, Sion? Put
No,
it that
still
way.
no, no, yeah,
You're not.
exactly, exactly. But I'm saying like even the atmosphere is London Stadium. It's going to be 30,000 instead of 60,000. Just for everything, the atmosphere, and obviously every week I've been like sort of ignoring the table. I'm like, Spurs, they're too good to go down. I check the table. I'm like, I'll come back next week, and then I'm like, hold on. If West Ham actually beat United, what less than a minute away, Sesko last minute, 3 points. 3 points is one game swing. So oh, Spurs, I can't like obviously Forest if Forest go down doesn't really impact me or anything like that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But Spurs going down, that will be funny because I got a lot of Spurs fans that as friends basically. I'll be ripping into every single one of them if they go down. They're finished. So and I don't know about their appointment. I think it's temporary. I think it's till the end of the season in interim. So I don't know. It's very short term
The
planning at
assistant
Spurs right
coach
now.
left just literally today or yesterday, I think.
Yeah, that I think he used to manage in Italy. Juventus, I don't know. I don't know in the past or anything like that, but yeah, um, like they're not out of the woods. So I do think it's a shootout. Well, West Ham, Forest, Spurs. Obviously, I don't want it to be West Ham. Deep down, I believe it'll be Forest. I think Forest will go down, and it will all stem back to when they sacked Nuno because I don't think that was necessary really. So it's been downhill really from then. I don't know how you can sack the person that took you to European football for the first time this century. So
And you
yeah, I
can.
don't
And you
know.
can. And what annoyed at the time. At the time. What frustrated a lot of West Ham fans was when Forest came to us and beat us, and
Mm,
Nuno's reaction after the game on the pitch with the Forest players. Like
right.
they loved him. They loved him. There was a lot of hugging, a lot of smiling, a lot of like. So you're right. It's the board that's got it wrong at Forest. You know,
Mm,
and you talk about atmospheres at London Stadium. The atmosphere against Man United was really good. It
hmm.
was really good. There was moments where, especially right up until the end, when they thought they were going to get the 3 points, the atmosphere was very good. But I just think the only other team I might add, just looking at the league table and fixtures, there's a team that have got their next two Premier League fixtures are very crucial.
Palace.
Brentford away, and then was it Nottingham Forest at home? Let me just double check that. Yeah, Brentford away and then Forest at home, and that's the team that's going downwards. That's Brighton. So,
Ah,
and they're only like on 31 points. So then next
wow.
two games for Brighton are kind of important, you know.
Mm, yeah. Who do you think will go down then? Like, if you had to, obviously, lot of football left. Um, obviously, I'm gonna go Forest, even though I want it to be Spurs, but I think it'll be Forest.
I think it'd be Forest.
I think it'll be Forest purely based on the fact that Dash has been sacked. I think that that decision was done too late. I don't think there was an appropriate time. I
Did
don't
Dash
think
deserve to be sacked? Do you think he deserved to be sacked?
no, no. The thing is, the way I see it from I guess a neutral's perspective is Spurs and Forest are in the same boat, but the difference is that when you compare Spurs and Forest, and then I guess if you compare Man City and Chelsea sorry, Man United and Chelsea is that both our clubs' managers were sacked pretty much straight into the new year, and both clubs have responded well. Carrick has won 4 games, drawn one. Rossinho, like the thing is, I know he's played more games, but the only games he's lost is both Arsenal games in the Carabao Cup. So you could argue that, in hindsight, that was a brilliant decision by both clubs. Should Spurs and Forest made the decision around that time or before? Definitely now that you look back on it. And I think, again, as Mr. Datson was spot on, I do believe there is a problem with the ownership. Now, we know what Levy's like. We've seen the stubbornness. We've seen the lack of, flexibility with him. But for Marianakis, sorry, I can't say his name properly.
Oh,
We don't really
Nakis,
know
yeah.
that, we don't know what to expect from him. He's new to the block. Forest have only been in the Prem for a few seasons. They make Europa League one season by a technicality, by the way. Let's not forget that was Crystal Palace's Europa League qualification. They earned that. They got given it because of politics. Let's just say how it is. So let's just say how it is, right? Forest, I believe they got a bit too big for their boots. They got to somewhere they shouldn't have, and they demanded a lot from Nuno after delivering such a really hard season for them last season, exceeding expectations. And I think, Nuno kind of gave them an hand, and Marinakis wanted the whole arm. That's how I see it. So for me, definitely Forest. I think they're way too deep. I don't see any form of resurrection. I don't see the new manager bounce, the players fighting. I don't see that. I just don't see that personally. And I think with the rise of West Ham as well, the recent upcline, I think the performances, the form, I think with everything that's going in their way, in their form, and Forest's negative form, definitely I feel like Forest will go down.
The mad thing is, I saw the highlights against Wolves. Usually, obviously the results at the end of the day, they didn't lose against Wolves. Obviously, they would have expected to win, but I think they recorded what highest most shots in a game since Opta Stats recorded 30. So I couldn't believe Forest didn't score. Genuinely, like 6 yard box chances getting missed. I don't really see like Dyche. He can't put the ball in the back of the net for them. You coach sort of a system and everything to create chances, and then really it's obviously up to the players to score. If they weren't creating chances, I can get it, like no shots on target or anything like that. But they should have beaten Wolves. They didn't, and that's on the attack really, and that would have been an extra 2 points. Did he not? He's gone away to Anfield and won the games. Obviously, they beat West Ham at the London Stadium. The teams in and around them, they've not been losing, as far as I'm like aware. They're still obviously they're not gonna run clear of the relegation zone, but they are somewhat doing the job against the teams they should be getting points against. So yeah, I don't get it, James. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but
No, I agree with all what you're saying. My argument will be is that traditionally over the last 5, 10 years, if you're a team down the bottom and you want a new manager to get you out of the relegation, it's Sean Dyche, and you
yeah,
had him. So why would you get rid of Sean Dyche? It doesn't make sense. And I'm just looking at the next fixtures for Forest. Their next fixtures are like Liverpool away. This doesn't include the Europa League. Liverpool away, Brighton. No, sorry, yeah, Liverpool at home, Brighton away, Man City away.
oh geez, yeah, I'm seeing that.
So the next 3 games for Forest, where they get it, so it's a big chance for West Ham to drop them right in it if they can pick up points. But I don't know. I just think Forest have blown their opportunity. To be a sort of a mid-table Premier League team for the next 5, 10 years, like a Brighton, like a Brentford, like that, because the owner wants too much and there's
Mm,
too much interference. Simple
yeah.
as.
Ross, United obviously didn't play this weekend, but good form in the Premier League. Most informed team in the league, probably. I think you are. Your thoughts on Man United recently?
Yeah, I think Man United's been brilliant. I think, we've done really well. I think I think football fans didn't expect this from us, didn't expect this from the club. Um, it is quite a relief as someone, that's been watching it since the start, seeing the lows of the Grimsby's, even such as recently losing to Brighton, being knocked out of both cup competitions. It's not a good look. It's not something, I personally grew up watching football, watching United growing up, partaking in all competitions. This feeling is quite new to me, if that's the way to this. It's quite alien. It's not something I'm used to being knocked out in the third round in both competitions. Lack of European football, it is almost uh, I don't know how to describe it, but it's not a feeling I'm used to. It's very unfamiliar, you know,
Mm.
for United to to say that, Man United are only playing once a week, not playing this weekend. It is a strange feeling. As someone that's gone to games and that watches it, it is a weird feeling. But at the same time, I feel like, at least I can only speak on myself. United fans, we've been very harsh, we've been very reactionary, very critical. I think we did need this respite. Of course, as much as I would want any other fan, we would want to win everything, win. But sometimes you do need that respite. You do need to kind of take that time to bounce back. I'm not saying we're going to go and win the league next season, but sometimes patience is a virtue. We should take our time, rebuild, and see what's best for the club. Again, we can talk about hindsight. Um, I don't like to talk about whether I back the manager or not. I support my club. If the club decides they want the manager, that's their choice. If I don't agree with that, I can go find another club, but I don't because I love my club and I'm gonna back it till the end. And so the club at the time, as it stands right now, they made the right decision. They let Amarin go. And Carrick has done anything but, you know, provide the results, prove very well against a very tough teams as well. You know, Man City, Arsenal. These are very tough teams, teams that are competing for the league, by the way. Teams that were, you know, flip-flopping between who to support when it was in their favor. One minute it was Arsenal on us on United FC. Then the next week it was Man City on United FC. So, you know, it shows that, you know, we are capable of having a statement put in this league. We are capable of influencing results. And what we've done, I'll be honest with you, in my personal opinion, those two results alone has made the Premier League much more entertaining. What should have been a walk in the park for Arsenal has now become a genuine title race.
Hmm.
And if if Carrick finishes in the top four, does he get the job?
Oh, God.
Not for me.
You think the club will give him the right? Yeah, go on, go on.
As great as an achievement it would be, I don't think Carrick would be the appropriate person. Lovely player, lovely lad. He seems like he's got his head screwed on. He's got his coaching staff, you know, he's got his team. He understands the United DNA, the ethos. He breeds that. And so I love that for him. And I love that he's
Hmm.
able to then represent the club through his philosophy and through the United DNA. However, if United want to get back to the former glory days, we need to go for someone that's very experienced, high caliber, that's high profile. Um, when you look at a few managers out there, yes, fair enough, some of them might not be available, but I'm sure there'll be people there waiting. You've got Ancelotti just playing, you know, currently just managing Brazil.
Hmm.
You've got PSG manager Enrique. I'm sure he would want a challenge. He's accomplished everything he can at PSG. Why not come to the Premier League and give it a challenge? So, whilst yes, I'll back Carrick right to the end of the season, regardless of what happens. Not only is he a United legend, but he's also my United manager. And he's working with what's been given to him and he's delivering the results, so I can't complain. But if you tell me next season, my expectations, I want to go back to winning a trophy and hopefully win a league. Can we do that with Carrick? No. Can we get top four with Carrick? Yes. But we've seen this before, haven't we? With Ollie. Ollie got us top four. Didn't win us a trophy though. Nearly got us a trophy, but didn't get us a trophy. Not saying Ten Hag is better, but Ten Hag came in, got us top four, and got us two trophies. Again, it didn't work out, but I do think we need that extra level of
But,
experience,
hmm,
skill
yeah.
to get us through.
So would you say that? Because I think it's a real interesting thing, right? Because it's like with Man United, you look at Carrick and what he's done and what he will continue to do. People will say he's brought United back to how they used to be, and that's the United way, and that's how they play, and he's a United player, ex-player. He's done this, done that. And then you look at sort of majority of the Man United fans might not want him next season because they want someone to come in and get them back to winning trophies, pushing for titles and all that. And like you just gave a very good example of, and the only other person I can think of is Mourinho won a couple of trophies when he was Man United manager. Ten Hag's a good example. But then the business is now, and I think it comes back to owners again. They should have stuck with Ten Hag and, give him a chance to do it. And I don't think you're given a chance to be a manager of Man United for 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons, like Arsenal have done with Arteta. Because I think Man United warrant to win something every year, and I think that's where they've gone wrong. I don't know who Man United can get if Carrick continues on his way and he gets you top four. Fair enough. I kind of think like, does that make him earn the right to at least start next season? In my book, possibly, Can he start afresh? He's got the players playing. Can he have a full go at whatever? Fair enough. Because who else are they going to get? Like, I just listened on one of the sporting channels. They had to make an announcement that they've had no contact with Jurgen Klopp, Man United, as a possible new manager next season. Like, who in their right mind as a Man United fan would take Klopp against Carrick? You'd rather keep Carrick, surely, for the rivalry with Liverpool. But if you disregard that, who else is there? Tuchel's allegedly signed a new contract with England because of pressure of other clubs being available at the end of the season. Glasner, the former Palace manager, at the end of the season, will he be a good fit for United? I just think it's like, whoever you get for United, yes, it might not be Carrick, but it's only going to be someone for 2 seasons tops. Because the way it's been done is that you want instant success, and I don't know where you get that from. Because if you want instant success and you don't get it, you're looking for another manager in a season and a half, and that's the problem. And that's not just Man United's problem. For me, it's a similar to, like, Arsenal have done it differently. They've given Arteta time. I think correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's won 2 FA Cups and that's it.
One.
One FA
Just
Cup,
one FA
2
Cup.
Premiership.
One FA Cup and that's it. And they celebrated beating Chelsea in the semi-final of the League Cup. And hear me what I said, the League Cup, as if it was a place in the Champions League final. Because they're desperate, because they've given Arteta too long now. So it's like it's whatever suits the club. And I don't see Man United doing that. I don't see Man United saying to a high-profile manager, "We want instant success, but we're going to give you 5 years to get it." If they don't win a trophy in their first season, by Christmas of the next season, they're gone. Because that's what United have been doing. And I feel for them, because I think United are still. Sion, you worked with me. The Sanford, you were with me on Tuesday night last week at the ground, right? I arrived 3 hours, 15 minutes before kickoff. The press area was packed. I've not seen that like that all season. Yeah. After the game, the press area packed, because it's United. It's Man United. Everyone wants to see Man United, from all the media, from all over I can't even say the country or Europe, all over the world. So Man United have to get it right. I agree with Rasantham a bit. It would be easy to say, Carrick, you have the job. But then they need to say, right, okay. But for me, I said it earlier on, one of Carrick's appointments tells me who's getting the Man United job in the summer. And who's getting the Man United job in the summer, whether you like it or not, is Southgate. Because
I knew that was coming. Yeah.
Steve Holland, because Carrick brought in Steve Holland.
Oh yeah.
Southgate's right-hand man. And Hollander's doing a lot of stuff that people aren't seeing at United, aren't seeing outside of United. Is more or less mentoring Carrick in the role. Yeah. And he was very vocal during the game on Tuesday night on the bench, very vocal. And I just think, where's that come from? There's been no connection between Carrick and Holland, I don't think, in terms of coaching when he was at Middlesbrough or anything like that. But one thing I will say, and the most important thing we have to say, I'm pleased for United. I'm pleased for Man United, because they now need to sort of run with this, and whatever they decide, they need to get it right, because they're back. And Rasantham made the biggest point. It's now created an opportunity that the Premier League title run is still not just a one-team race. It's now between City and Arsenal. And that's because of what Man United have done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And West Ham can still do the same, because we've still got to play Man City and Arsenal. So the title race is still on. The title race is still on. So I thank the Sanford and Man United for that. But I don't thank them for the 96-minute equaliser by a lucky flick from their substitute striker, when the referee, how we got 7 minutes, I do not know. And Rasantham knows my views on that. He gave 0 minutes, 0 seconds in the first half. Where he got 7 minutes from in the second half is beyond me. And to be fair, it was a nice strike from the striker, whose name, Cisco.
Let's go. Yeah.
It was a nice strike, but it weren't what you want to see in the 96th minute.
James, I got a question for you, right? So, obviously you got both Arsenal and City left. If I told you right now you need 3 points against Man City to survive, like between now and the end of the season, that's the game that's going to decide if you stay up or not. If you beat Man City, it means Arsenal win the league.
It's a stupid question. It's a stupid question because Premier League survival is
Yeah.
far more better than watching Arsenal fans celebrate something
What
as
what
if
if I
it's
told you
the
you're
end of
back
the
soon?
world.
What if I told you back soon? Back soon is one season in the championship, one, and then you're back, guaranteed back.
Or if we're guaranteed back after one
Guaranteed back.
season, and we
Guaranteed
get
back. You
and
just
we
have to
get to play and we get to play Millwall home and away for one season. Ooh, that
guaranteed
might be
back.
worth it. That might be worth it. That
Yeah,
might
yeah.
be worth it. That
Mm,
could be worth it. You know.
yeah. Oh man, yeah. I didn't know you still had to play both. But yeah,
Yeah,
Chelsea.
Arsenal's at home at the London Stadium and City's away. I think no, City's at home and Arsenal's away. I think. Well, they
Nah,
both at
nah. You
home.
played. I remember you played. You lost 2-0 away at Arsenal, so Arsenal's
No, they're
definitely home.
both at home. Then they're both at
Right.
home.
Okay.
They're both at home.
Right. Um. Yeah. What's it? Chelsea. Obviously. Obviously the league form's been good. Obviously, I think this is the first podcast since Maresca got sacked actually. So it's very sort of similar to like Marinakis. Our owners are very much hands on. I didn't want Enzo Maresca sacked. He's the only manager that's done anything under this ownership. He's the only one that's actually won anything. So and he wasn't sacked for his results. We were going through a run like of bad form, but for me, it stems back to the summer when I watched a press conference when like I think the transfer window was still open. They're asking Maresca about what he thinks he needs, and he was focused on centre back, and we didn't buy any centre back. So from once I see that, I'm like, I can already see where this is gonna go because when you start having you start seeing the hints in the press conferences that bit of turmoil behind the scenes. So yeah, he got sacked, which I'm disappointed about,
It's only
really.
one way it's going to end when you
Yeah,
see
and
that.
that's when I realized we're somewhat snookered, I think, in my opinion, because I think he earned the right after winning us Club World Cup, right? I felt like he earned the right to kind of have a bit more of a say, especially when it comes to the transfers. And then it's made me realize, like, what if Liam Rosinha, right? He wins, like, for example, we're in the FA Cup still. If he sort of wins the FA Cup, and then you sort of you want to obviously go on, kick on, and win more. If he asks for like certain, like if he identifies transfer targets, realistic transfer targets for the summer, is he going to get who he wants, or are the owners going to buy who they think's best for the club, right? And then obviously he might want maybe some more experience in the squad. They might not give it to him, so I don't really see how we're going to leave. Obviously, we'll be in the races for like top four. We could still win the FA Cup this season. Champions League, we're in it. Obviously, it's tough. Going to be tough to win that. So realistically, it's only the FA Cup really for me because obviously we need Champions League football, but I'm not going to be excited or like be celebrating if we get top four and qualify for the Champions League. I'll celebrate the FA Cup because that's in the trophy cabinet, really. So I'm disappointed we got knocked out of the Carabao Cup because we're not in the title race. If we were in the title race, if we were Arsenal and Man City, well, I'll be like, ah, it's all right. Bigger fish to fry. We've got no bigger fish to fry. So if I can't win the league, it's the domestic cups I want to win. So yeah, the Arsenal game, I was fuming. Like I was when we went out even though after the first leg killed us, to be honest, because the second leg, I don't think, obviously, we need to score, but I don't think we can just go to the Emirates and go gong ho because we'll lose. So I thought the game plan for the second leg was fine. Going into the last 20 minutes, be nil-nil. For me, the problem is the first leg. You can't concede 3 goals at home in a semi-final and go through. How often does that happen in two-legged cup competition? So the first leg's what finished us off, in my opinion. I knew we were out after that. So yeah, Liam Rosenior, he's made a good start. Um, I think we obviously Leeds was disappointing. We had basically we had the game won, and then we've undone it. We've undone it. Shot ourselves in the foot with mistakes. Caicedo gave away a penalty for no reason, and then Achampong was like a lack of experience, really. I don't know if you guys saw the goal, but he's sort of left the ball thinking Sanchez is going to come for it, and yeah, then Leeds player nips in and scores. So that's down to experience mainly. It's Caicedo who's I'm more annoyed at because he's experienced. So Achampong it can happen, but from Caicedo I don't expect that to happen. So yeah,
I
obviously,
think
yeah, go on.
no. So I'm just looking at your fixtures. Since I think you're
Yeah,
right.
we're cooked. Have you
The
seen our
FA Cup,
fixtures?
the FA Cup is probably the only thing you've got playing for because you got Burnley at home at the weekend. Fair
Mhm.
enough. Then you've got to go Arsenal away,
Yep, gets dark.
Villa away.
Hmm.
So you play the two top three teams both away.
Yep,
Then you've got Newcastle at home mid March.
yep,
Everton away, and then you've got to play the two Manchester clubs at home
Yep.
at the end of in April. That's
Hmm.
that's a tough one for you to have a consistent like picking up points. So I
Yep.
think the FA Cup's what you got to focus. Quick question: I don't know if you win the FA Cup, what do you go in? Is it the
Europa. Europa.
Europa League? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then I got an interesting question just listening to both of you, and we spoke a lot about Nottingham Forest and Tottenham changing managers, and we spoke a lot about Man United, and Sion's just mentioned about Chelsea and their management. Should clubs be allowed to sack their managers as and when they want in during the season? Or should once you have your manager, you have like a manager window where you only have a certain period where you can sack them or not? Because I just think it's interesting. Like we had a new assistant coach join us a couple of weeks back. I can't think of his name with Nuno, but he was touted to go to the Forest as the manager, and you kind of think to yourself like, well, he's been with West Ham for 2 or 3 weeks, and now he's going to go and he knows what West Ham are doing.
Conflict of interest sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like.
you kind of think like it's an interesting one. I just think managers can be sacked quite easily, and we talked about Forest. This is their fourth manager, but if you look down, 4 or 5 other clubs have changed their manager this season. Is that the right answer, or should it be? It's like with me, I don't agree with the transfer window at Christmas in January. I don't agree with it.
Me
I
too.
think
Yeah.
that's your team, you stick with it.
Mm.
And then that's why you have your development players, your academy players, your under 21s, under 23s. If you have injuries, then you bring them in. But that's me in a big fantasy world of like, it'd be great if that can happen, but it would ruin too many clubs because
But
it's
what you're referring to sounds more like a regulation. It doesn't really feel like, I don't even know how to put it into words. It seems like you're trying to regulate football by that, by saying, should we have a transfer window for managers? I feel like it's heavily conflicted as it is with, summer windows, January windows. Um, just a bit off topic, football fans were, upset or a bit, annoyed that Mark Gahey being knocked out with Palace was able to then
they've
play.
changed that rule
They've
where they
changed the
can
rules, that's
play.
what I'm saying. So
That's
adding more
ridiculous.
rules and adding more regulations,
That's
it's just gonna
ridiculous.
cause more, you know,
But that's what I see.
commotion and problems and drama.
My ultimate aim with Anthem is what you start with in August is what you finish with in May. It's as simple as that for me.
Mm.
Because we moan over the last 5, 10 years that not many British or English players are being developed enough in a team, but we're not giving them much of a chance when like you can make transfers halfway through the season, you can do this, you can do that. But that new rule about the cup competitions is ridiculous.
Yeah.
How you can go to Macclesfield and lose, and then a round later score a goal in the next round for another club is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Is absolutely ridiculous. You
Mm.
know, like what happens if Man City tonight drawn? What happens if Macclesfield beat Brentford tonight and they had Man City in the next round?
Oof.
Cahill gets another go at them. That's fucking. That's sorry, I nearly swore there. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Oh,
It's like the rule. It's like the rule with the loan players. They can't play against their own club. You might as well. So if you imagine like Cahill, he plays Macclesfield and scores against them playing for Man City. The rule's stupid. It's just stupid.
We wouldn't
It
hear
should
the
be
end of
allowed.
it. We wouldn't hear the end of it. Football fans
Shouldn't
will
be
be
allowed.
livid.
yeah,
Should not be allowed.
Pep's trying to thing is just obviously we talk about the FA Cup. Apparently as it stands, he obviously can't play in the League Cup final as well. Against Arsenal next month because I think obviously he's played for Palace, so
But you can't have one rule for one competition. It's
yeah, it
ridiculous.
needs to be consistent. Exactly, yeah. So it shouldn't be, I don't think. But then like now, but ever since Champions League rule, I remember I'm still bitter about this. 2013-14, the first player that was allowed to play against the club he was on loan at in the Champions League, Thibaut Courtois, masterclass against us in Champions League semi-final with Atletico. They knocked us out and they went to the final. I was
But
fuming. Like
my
that
view,
was
my view on the loan situation is very
Mhm.
simple.
Yeah.
If you don't like the player, you send them out on loan. It shouldn't matter if they play against you because you wouldn't have them in your team anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
like
it.
it doesn't
But
make
that
sense.
comes down to contract clauses. I think that's just
So
personal terms.
yeah,
I don't think that's
so
the
again,
FA
who's
doesn't get
running the
regulated
game?
with
Who's
that.
running the game? The business, the owners are running the game. They're not the
Yeah.
team, not the.
Yeah, and I think to come back to Sion's point, just to briefly touch on this very quickly, with the Champions League, whilst yes, I do agree. If you start in August with a set of players, you should end with it. At least with the Champions League, it is at least they are professional with it. They make it clear. You start the Champions League group stages, you submit your team. Come the knockout stages, you submit your second team. We saw Semenyo couldn't play, Gehi couldn't play in the last game week. Now they're eligible because they had to resubmit the squad. And I think that is fair, and I do think that's ideal because we've seen that in the Euros, we've seen that in the World Cup. Once you submit your team, that is it for the tournament. So I feel like if we're going to be rigid, it needs to be black and white, and it needs to be universal, not just in the UK, not just in Football Association, but across.
But then some can say the same. I agree with you spot on. But then some people could say that at the start of the Premier League, you submit your squad, and that's your squad for the Premier League. There's no
If
transfers.
if we go down that route, then
It's
that
like
eliminates the whole need for January transfer window.
Yeah, get rid
exactly.
of Jan. Get rid of Jan. August 31st, everyone. That's when you obviously you can if you buy players in August.
Yeah, but
Well, obviously no,
August
before
the
no,
31st is
sorry,
wrong
before
as
the
well because
season.
the
No,
season starts
sorry, yeah,
earlier.
before the season starts. Sorry, so like if the season starts on the
The 15th of
Friday, if the
August,
season
the
starts on the
transfer window closes on the 14th. It's as
yeah, yeah,
simple.
yeah. So like if the season starts on the Friday by like the Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those days is the cutoff. Like transfer window closes, and then you go with that until the next summer. Until the next summer, yeah, that would be good because Jan, we've seen a lot of January signings over the years. Has won league titles, got people relegated and stuff. It's had big influence in it. So yeah, but yeah, I guess we'll leave it there unless there's anything else for you guys to add before we wrap it.
I think
No,
just one point on Chelsea. Do you think Maresca would have won those games that Rosenius played? Because I feel like now this is Rosenius' test. After the
Yeah.
Burnley game is where we'll see is he actually the one for it.
Yeah, I think to be fair, there's some of the, I mean, the league games we're about to go into our tough run now. The FA Cup games we've not played anyone in the Premier League. I don't think so. I think we would have beaten Hull. Who did we play in the round before? I've forgotten. Oh, we played Charlton League One. I think he would have won
that
those.
was his first night. That was his
Yeah,
first
yeah,
night.
that was his first game. So what's the highest ranked Premier League team we played? Because I think we've had a somewhat favourable run in the league. I do think Maresca would have won those games. So as you said, I think his test is coming now, the Burnley games and the fixtures after that, because I think after those 6 or 7 games, we're either going to be third or we're going to be like eighth, ninth. Because yeah, we need points in those games, otherwise we're going to slide down the table. So it's a good question. Now, maybe to be fair, maybe I think we might have a few less points in the Prem. There might be one or two more games.
What
We
we
were lucky
can
to beat West
say,
Ham. We were lucky to beat West Ham in my opinion, but
what,
that
what oh
was yeah, go on.
lucky, we played you off the park in the first half,
We
but
didn't deserve 3 points against West
we
Ham.
won't
No.
talk about that. We won't talk about that. And how a Chelsea player didn't get sent off in the ruckus at the end is beyond me. But anyway, we won't talk about that. What we will say then, to end with what Rassam from saying then, is both Man United, Chelsea, West Ham, all three managers have got a tough next month or two to prove themselves. Nuno to prove he can do it and keep West Ham up. Carrick to continue the run he's on to show it wasn't luck. And Rossinia to continue with Chelsea because he's got a few tough games up, and this is where he'll be tested. And this will prove the point of why he was brought in, and it wasn't just a transfer between the two clubs that are twinned together.
Yeah, because he's part of the
So
structure already, isn't he?
a big month for all three of our managers. Let's hope it don't take us that long to come back for another podcast.
All right. Take care, everyone. Like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you all again soon.